We are here with one half of Anti-Flag. Bamboozle left backstage. Guys, how you doing?
Good, good.
So when you guys are doing like a festival, do you kind of tailor your set list a little bit different than a club show, one of your own headlining gigs?
I think that I'm a firm believer in that the people that come to our headlining shows understand what the band is about, understand the core ideals of this band, and the fact that we're a band that stands staunchly against racism and against sexism and against homophobia and against any sort of idea that separates people versus bringing them together. And so at a festival such as this, we will take much time to explain those ideas, because you know it's too often that people get into music because they're told it's cool or because it's fashionable, and we're a band that doesn't create music for those reasons. We create music to bring people together and recognize our similarities versus focusing on our differences.
Well, I'm really curious to pick both your brains about this because, you know, like you said, change always comes from the bottom up, not from the top down. You know, looking at something like Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States, that's what that whole book was kind of illustrating how that happened. Even with that in mind, though, is there anybody in the current political landscape that you feel like, not that you're going to fully endorse somebody, but that you would get behind, like that might be better than we've ever had before?
I know what you're saying. I mean, you know, it's like, I think that Ralph Nader has a lot of amazing ideas. I liked Dennis Kucinich a whole lot before he was out of the race. Of the three candidates that have a shot of winning the office, Barack Obama is the best choice of the three. He's talking about shutting down Guantanamo Bay. He's talking about ending the war. He's talking about universal health care. You know, aid to Darfur. These are issues that are very important to me. So by far, he's the standout candidate to me.
It wouldn't be enough. But it might be a start,
exactly. He's still wrong on gay rights. He's still wrong on many other issues. But John McCain is obviously just an extension of this Bush White House, and we will continue down the same path if he is our president. You know, when you hear him say things like 100 years in Iraq, and you hear him talk about Iran, and you know, saying that he would bomb Iraq, and you hear Barack Obama say, well, I would sit down and have a dialogue with Iraq and try to...
Iran.
Iran, I'm sorry, yeah, I apologize. But Hillary Clinton scares me mostly because for my entire lifetime, I will have only seen a Bush or a Clinton in the White House, and to me, that's not democracy. Who runs after her? Jeb Bush?
Right.
You know, it's very scary to think that these two families have been in control of the quote-unquote most powerful nation in the world, and you know, Barack Obama looks to be different than that.
I always think about how, you know, under Reagan and Bush the First, like so many important vital bands. I mean, you know, someone as obvious as the Dead Kennedys to, you know, on down the line. Even with Margaret Thatcher, and you know, you have bands like Chumbawamba and Crass. I remember thinking at a certain point, like, we should have some really incredible bands coming out of the last few years. Am I missing something, or
I think there are incredible bands.
Yeah.
I think that there is a different landscape that these bands are existing in. There are bands that come and go very quickly in the culture that we're in right now. Bands like Strike Anywhere, amazing, have been out
and,
commenting about the
and they're
issues of the world.
even more underground than Strike Anywhere. You have the Defiance Ohios and the Witch Hunts of the world that are working diligently
And we have to remember that the Dead Kennedys didn't sell very many records, and
Right.
nobody knew about them when they were touring around the country. And I think that's the same thing that we'll have now, where in 10 years we're going to look back and say these bands were amazing bands, and nobody knew about them at the time.
Right on. One last question: Do you guys ever just want somebody to say, like, so what's your first single and when's your video coming out?
No. I mean, these things are really important to us, and we enjoy talking about them.
Awesome. Killer. Well, guys, thanks so much. Anti-Flag. Check out the new record. Check out the dates on their page.